G'day everyone, I'm back again in quick succession after the last video. Not just to show you this little chappy you can see in front of you. This is just something for the intro. Remember in the last video I had that box of War Games Atlantic Foot Knights. I put one together and this little fella here, he's also had his undercoat on. I've only just sort of done that. Interestingly, while I was putting it together, my plastic glue, those Revel applicator things with the fine tip, the end of it completely, the plastic lid bit completely sheared off, split and sheared right off. I couldn't do anything with it. Couldn't be screwed back on. Couldn't be. Thankfully, my son had one in his room as well. But interestingly, his container is also split. It's going the same way, but it was lasted long enough for me to complete the figure. But I've decided I'm going to order my glue in a glass bottle. So I've ordered some Tamiya extra thin with a little brush applicator for future plastic assemblage. So anyway, my first Foot Knight assembled. Let's get him out of the road. Okay, today's assemblage is a real assortment. So I'm going to start with, most of it is silver bayonet related. And these first two, I believe these first two cadaverous Norman Knights are from possibly connected with the Silver Bayonet Italy supplement, or Southern Italian or Sicilian or whatever it is, I can't remember, but I think they came out to do with that. Now, they do, I think in the picture I saw on the North Star website, they didn't have the shields, but the shields came in the package, so I thought, well, I've got them, why not stick them on, even though if they're this cadaverous, you know, broken down, desiccated, that maybe the shields would be a bit more decayed than that, but it's a fantasy. Stick them on anyway. So the chainmail and the helmets and everything is quite rusty, although there is a bit of a gleam to the sword still, so that they still will hurt you if you get too close. So the shields I did stick on, but I made them really scungy and weathered. This fella I didn't trust to that it was going to just stick onto that skeletal hand, so I actually made a crude sort of strappage out of green stuff. So it's probably some sort of really decayed leather, sort of just hanging on there. So that's the other side of him. There will be pictures at the end. So yeah, just some simple Normanish shield designs, but very heavily weathered. So that's them. So they're metal figures. I'll put them to one side. The next two guys are, I think these are 3D sculpts. These are also silver bayonet. Excuse hands, excuse fingers. See if we can get these focused in. Now, they're kind of British-like, although the uniform is not exactly correct. But they'll do. It is a fantasy thing. It's, as I've said before, Napoleonic adjacent. But they're rather nifty sculpts. I'm pretty sure they're 3D sculpted, but cast in metal. Could be wrong. But I like the way that the, I should get a pointer, shouldn't I? I've got a million and one brushes. So I like the way that the bones sort of sticking out here, you can see, and in different places and holes on the figures. Just poking through rib cages and these guys. Yeah. So they're both the Normans and these corpses that have been reanimated are very heavily weathered and scungy looking. You might see the contrast as we start to put the other figures on that aren't so sort of brought up from the dust of the earth or from some tomb or somewhere. So let's put them to one side. Right, next up, let's go for some actual classic silver bayonet characters from North Star. So we've got a naval officer, we've got a Prussian officer, and we've got a British veteran as well. Okay, so let's get these in a bit clearer focus. There we go. So, yeah, these are the chunky sculpts that you get from North Star with a lot of the Silver Bayonet packs. Full of character, easy to paint, but good fun to paint. They're all got different things on them. No stakes on these ones. No stakes of vampires or cloves of garlic on this particular bunch, but they look really interesting. This chappy here on the end, in fact, the naval officer, look, you could have him, you really could have him in a naval landing party, or, you know, change the base and make it like decking of a ship, and he would pass completely for a Napoleonic officer. I did look up some reference pictures of uniform designs, and there were some that were like this. So, yeah, nice figure. This chappy here, yeah, Prussian. It's got like a Landwehr hat, soft hat with the silver cross up there. He's wearing some sort of engineers or cuirassier breastplate to give him a bit of extra protection. Dual wielding, he's got his sword and his pistol. They've all got sort of braces of pistols and whatnot, extra weapons and things. So the stick makes it go a bit out of focus. And then the chap next to them, that's an old grizzled British veteran with massive sideburns. He's got his silver cross, obviously hoping that will protect him from the fiends. And he's got this rather marvellous caped jacket. It's all these layers of fabric, and looks like it's seen a bit of been out in the weather. He's been out in the weather a bit, and he's a bit wild looking. But he's out to get a few Silver Bayonet type enemies with his hatchet and his hammer. So that's those three chappies. Now the next two are kind of like odd men out. They're a little bit different, but that's okay. My friend Albie, who I paint these for, he loves collecting all sorts of eclectic miniatures. He seems very taken with the Silver Bayonet, which I'm happy to oblige painting them for him, because they're great fun. But he's also picked up some Bob Murch Pulp figures from North Star as well. This chappie is one of them. Classic sort of adventurer somewhere out in the steppes of Asia or somewhere like that, somewhere a bit chilly. He's got a fur coat, and he's got the classic pith helmet and a more modern, perhaps 20th century pistol, I'm not sure, or late 19th century. But yes, he's on some sort of expedition, but he's still got some sort of cavalry sword there. So I just painted it basically with the same scheme that was on the website, the North Star website for the Pulp figures. So there will be forthcoming further down the track a bunch more of these Pulp figures, but they'll be your more typical British redcoats with pith helmets. I hadn't seen them before because I thought, I painted a lot of different like Zulu Wars and colonial dudes from different manufacturers, but I hadn't seen these. And it turns out that Bob Murch Pulp figures, which you can get from North Star in the UK or from, where is he based? Canada, is that right? Yeah, he's done a bunch of your classic British redcoats. So stay tuned, and eventually I'll have those to show as well. As so, if you're building up forces for that kind of period, these might be they'll hopefully be a nice addition that you could mix in with your other forces like your Perry and your Empress and etc. etc. So, but that will be a while yet before you see those. Okay, so that's him. Another interesting character. There'll be photos as usual at the end. And the last chap is quite on theme for me at the moment, is this guy. Look at that. That, I believe, was available again on the North Star website, but I think it's a footsore Futsal Miniatures Sculpt. Now, who's done that? Is it Mr. Bickley or Mr. Hicks? I'm not sure. But I think it's sold as a 13th century Welsh knight or something like that. Anyway, it's got the classic 13th century looks with the plain surcoat, which was often lined a different colour, and you'll see that with his surcoat and his cloak. And he's got basically all clad in mail, a heater type shield, which I'll show you. I've painted a design on, and the surcoats back then frequently didn't have heraldic devices on them. They tended more just to be on the shields. He's got a classic sort of great helm. So yeah, nice figure, but quite different in style than the Medbury ones. It's just a different sculpting style, but I really like this flow going on here. This is very nice. So I based the shield design, the heraldic device, off a Graham Turner plate that I saw somewhere on the interwebs with this kind of design on it. Although I think the shield wasn't quite as elongated as this one, so I've probably stretched it a bit, but it had these sort of, it's this yellow and this red chevrons with little fleur-de-lis in them. So yeah, painted that by hand, and I like how it's a nice contrast with the red of the cloak and the white off-white lining. Looks kind of groovy. So pleased with how those turned out. So yeah, nice miniature. Very nice indeed. So that's what I've got to show you. Oh, what was I gonna? I thought there was something else that I've ordered or something. I can't remember. No, the glue, the book I told you about. Can't remember. Anyway, that's all right. It'll be come to me later. Put that brush back. All right, folks. So that's your lot. So there'll be photos after this. Any questions, put it in the comments. I'll try and answer. And I hope you enjoyed this interesting assemblage of miniatures for Silver Bayonet, sort of pulp era, and straight up 13th century knight. I'm sure they could all make an appearance in a skirmish game, for sure. Full of character. It's nice. It's fun to paint these sort of real character models where at times where everyone's a bit different. And yeah. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Take care, and bye for now.